Rear brake pad replacement. Removal. Engage parking brake. Remove the rear wheel. Release the parking brake lever such that the disc and hub rotates freely. Remove two 12 mm caliper mounting bolts from the caliper bracket. Note: support the removed caliper with a wire hook so as to prevent brake hose from bending and twisting excessively or being pulled. Don't operate brake pedal with brake pads removed. Remove the brake pads from the caliper bracket. Detach the anti-rattle clips from the caliper bracket. Measure the pad lining thickness. If it is found to be 1 mm or less, it has to be replaced. Note: while inserting the pads between the carrier and disc, care should be taken that the friction material should be towards the disc. Rotate the disc and make sure it is free to rotate. If it is not free to rotate, inspect and make sure that the pads are sitting square with the disc without any tilt. Before inserting the pads, ensure that caliper is returned fully to its position. Never polish pad lining with sandpaper. If lining is polished with sandpaper, hard particles of sandpaper will be deposited in lining and may damage the disc. When pad lining requires correction, replace it with a new one. While fitting the guide pin, ensure that the straight portion of the pin matches with the ear of the caliper body. The pads in the pad kit should be replaced on the respective caliper, that is, assemble RH marked pads on right-hand caliper and LH marked pads on left-hand caliper. Always ensure that the anti-rattle pad clips are replaced whenever the pads are replaced. If the pads are to be reused, make sure they are assembled back in the same position as they were when removed, that is, inboard pad onto the piston side and outboard pad to the wheel side. This is possible only when at the time of removal these pads are marked for their positions and kept aside. Never lubricate the pad seating areas as it may lead to jamming. Do not apply grease on anti-rattle clips. Installation. Place the anti-rattle clips on the caliper bracket. Note: the pad springs which fits on the carrier has a projection on one side. Care must be taken while assembling the pad spring such that this projection will never point towards the brake disc, but always towards the opposite side of the brake disc. Using MST. To compress the rear caliper piston, rotate the tool towards front of the vehicle. Ensure that the marking on caliper bracket and groove in the piston match together. Caution: the inboard pads are provided with wear indicator assembly. Hence, the brake pads are not interchangeable. Place the brake pads on the caliper bracket. Install the caliper with the help of two 12 mm caliper mounting bolts. Pull the parking brake lever such that the disc and hub remains locked. Fit the rear wheel.